following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
This week, we hand out Players of the Week awards, hear raw emotion following two tough games, give updated rankings, the 2-2-1, and more. All that next on the Full Court Press.
This is the Full Court Press, part of the Sumner County Sports Podcast, covering high school sports all across Sumner County. Now, here's your host, Zach Wobble.
Hey, everybody. Welcome into another edition of the Full Court Press Podcast. You see the hoop, so you know what time it is. In this episode, we catch up with Gallatin head coach Bobby Luna, post-game following their 64-58 win over Hendersonville last Friday night. We also speak with Pope Prep boys coach Charles Wade following their tough 2-point loss to Brentwood Academy last night. So without further ado, let's jump right into the episode. Recapping my game Friday night, the Gallatin boys versus the Hendersonville boys, 64-58 win for Gallatin. A really, really good basketball game where Gallatin just scratched and clawed and found a way to win late in the second half. This was a game that Hendersonville led after each of the first three quarters and looked like they were going to move on for the victory. But Gallatin, Bobby Luna, they never gave up. They always played good defense. And you know what? In the fourth quarter, they started making shots. In the first half, they weren't making shots. And in the fourth quarter, it really came down to playing good defense and just hitting your open looks. And you're going to hear from Bobby Luna in a minute following that win over Hendersonville, where he hits on that. He just says, hey, we didn't make any wholesale changes. We just made shots and played a little bit better defense. So let's hear what Bobby Luna has to say following their 64-58 win over Hendersonville last Friday night. You win this game. Cade was incredible. AJ was really, really good. But it feels like it started on the defensive end. What changed for your guys in the third quarter when you were able to cut it down to 4, and then eventually in the fourth quarter when you were able to take your lead?
Well, I think a lot of it was I thought we played real tight offensively in the first half. I thought we were playing hard defensively, but, when you're down 10-0 5 minutes into the game, you don't feel like you're playing very hard. I thought we relaxed. We talked at the half, hey, we won the second quarter. We're only down 8. We're in the game. Just keep digging. We'll make a shot, somewhere along the way. I thought we were in good shape when we got up 9 with a couple minutes to go. Had 2 turnovers right there. Young guys, good for them to be in those positions, but shot the ball real well at the free throw line late. And, Cannon, who'd struggled shooting ball all night, makes a big 3 in there. Cade makes some threes. AJ makes a 3. So, we as many good looks as we missed in the first half, we were able to make big baskets in the fourth quarter when it was, most important and we needed it. But it was a battle. Both teams played really hard. I don't expect anything different anytime we play them. And, I'm really proud of our guys for their effort.
Yeah, you mentioned that run in the fourth quarter. It started with an A.J. Davis 3 to end the third to get down 4, then A.J. Davis and 1. Cannon Hale hits that 3 that you mentioned. Then Cade gets the offensive rebound to go up 46-45. Another A.J., 2 free throws, Cade 3, A.J. Davis 3 again, and then Cade with the assist to go up. It was really a remarkable turnaround for your bunch in that little stretch.
It was, and I don't think we didn't do anything different. I think we got a confidence level going, after we made a shot or 2. I thought our guys just dug in, and fought. We didn't make any wholesale changes. We probably did a better job on Colby in the fourth quarter, and that was A.J. Davis doing that. And we kept the ball out of the post enough. Not.
How'd you do that, though?
Well, I think they made some shots early, and they had some guard drives, and I think they got away from it for a little bit in the second and third. And then late in the fourth, we were, Amaris was fighting, Jamil was fighting. And then, at the end of the game, we just went with Cade on him and said, hey, we're going 5 guards, and Cade had no fouls. And Cade could guard him, and we just told him, don't let him catch. And we survived it.
Yeah, he was really good tonight. Cade was. I thought you had a core of guys. Here you are now, 3-1 in league play. A chance to build on that momentum at McGevick next week. What do you harp on from this game to try to get better on?
Well, I think for us is just continuing to work on tonight, I thought Hendersonville did a really good job of getting through screens. I didn't think we did a good enough job of screening bodies. We've got to be better in screening in our offense. Ball movement's been pretty good. Player movement's been pretty good. Got to be a little bit tougher around the basket. If you look at the second quarter, we missed 3 almost uncontested layups, just bad body balance. Missed another one late in the game that almost could have cost us. Just bad body balance, not under control. And so that'll be something that we'll talk about and work on is finishing those, plays around the rim, and just continuing to work on, trying to find a way to get easy baskets, but just keep fighting our butt off on defense. I think tonight that was the difference.
Last question, I'll let you go. This is a really good Hendersonville team, and for you to get a win the way that you did on the road, what does that tell you about your squad?
Well, I think it says they're resilient, because, we were down 10-0 early in the game and our guys could have easily bailed out, and they didn't. They just kept digging and fighting. And, they're talking to each other during timeouts. We had some frustration. They're kids. They want to compete and they want to win. But they were frustrated, but they battled through it and survived it.
Cool. Thanks, sir.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks.
That's Bobby Luna following their big win over Hendersonville on the road last Friday night. That was a huge win for their district standings. At the time, it put them to 3-1 and into second place behind Beach and dropped Hendersonville to third place at 2-2 in league play. Now, both teams went on to get a win last night. I know that Gallatin defeated McGavick and Hendersonville went on the road to beat Station Camp. So both pick up a win. So you're still staying in that 2-3 mark for Gallatin and Hendersonville. But what a big win for the Green Wave, especially on the road, knowing that you get to bring Hendersonville back to your place in a couple weeks. It's got to feel good for Gallatin and for Bobby Luna. And, they're looking good as they get ready to head into district play. And then not leaving out the girls, Hendersonville 56, Gallatin 40 in that first game. Just a really good win for Hendersonville on a night that Hendersonville High School honored the late Gallatin girls basketball coach Jerry Landers. That was really cool for them to wear shooting shirts with the Power G on it, for them to put signs in their gymnasium to honor them. And, and I asked Clancy Hall after the game just kind of why do that, because A, it's their oldest rival, and B, they didn't have to. And he was very complimentary and said that all the credit goes to Kelly Reed, the girls basketball coach, for putting that together. So it was a no-brainer for Hendersonville High School. And like I said in my game story that you can check out on mainstreetpreps.com, it's their oldest rivalry. It's their fiercest rivalry, but it's probably their most respected rival. Not taking anything away from Station Camp or Beach, but, these two schools go back a long, long time. And, they just got a lot of admiration and respect for one another. And when they saw that Gallatin was hurting and still mourning, they wanted to do what they could to try to lift up their spirits. So really cool by Hendersonville High School to do that. That segment leads me into my players of the week this week. Both players are going to be from those two games, Hendersonville and Gallatin, and they're actually first-time honorees. Starting with the boys, we'll go with Gallatin senior Cade Martin, who scored a healthy 25 points in their 64-58 win over Hendersonville on Friday. Martin scored 15 points in the fourth quarter, including a nice 10 for 10 from the charity stripe to help seal that victory. Cade was really, really good for them. He played really good, really tough defense on Dace Shook, Hendersonville's low block man in the fourth quarter. Did not allow him to catch the ball in the low post because Dace was doing some damage on the low block, and he does damage. He's a really good low block player in this county that can get some points, and is certainly going to be a name that you should look out for the rest of this season. One that will, certainly be all county, certainly will make all district and potentially all region, depending on how far the Commandos go. He's a really good low post player, and I just thought Cade Martin did a marvelous job on him in the low block in the fourth quarter to go along with his 15 points. And in that girls game, looking at Hendersonville senior Brett Taylor, she scored 20 points in that 16-point win on Friday night, including 5 3-pointers, one in the fourth quarter to help seal the victory. As I mentioned previously, this is her first time being honored as our player of the week. It was nice to see Brett to get some confidence going, as Coach Kelly Reed said after the game, because she just didn't shoot well in 2 games prior in their loss to Beach. And so to see her bounce back against, I believe it was McGavick, the game after Beach, and then carry that over in a big win over Gallatin was good to see for her. And, that pushed Hendersonville at the time to second place at 3-1 in league play. Problem is, and I'll get to this in a minute, they lost last night to Station Camp. So that drops them, and, there's a cluster there in my rankings that I'll get into in a minute. But nevertheless, Cade Martin, Brett Taylor are players of the week this week, each scoring 25 points. Cade did, and then Brett did score 20 respectively. in 2 wins. So, again, congratulations to Cade Martin and Brett Taylor of Gallatin High School and Hendersonville High School. Moving on to the best game I saw this week, it was the game last night. Brentwood Academy edging out Pope Prep 63-61 on a DJ Center game-winning jumper from about 15 feet out on the right wing, or excuse me, the right short corner. I talked to DJ, and you could check out the game story on MainStreetPreps.com. It's on the featured box. But I spoke to him after the game, and he said it was more about execution than it was X's and O's. And, he just stepped up and made a big shot. And that's a shot he practices all the time. Although he wasn't hitting last night, he hit the one that mattered most, which was to get them a win. Just a really, really, really good basketball game last night. I mean, you had 6 ties, 10 lead changes in the first half. You had just as many ties and even more lead changes in the second half. Just a really, really good basketball game. The first time these two teams met, it was Brentwood Academy getting a 15-point win over Pope Prep. And I knew they were better than that. I knew they would be anxious and excited to welcome in the undefeated Eagles, who are now 21-0 and 7-0 in league play. And just a really good basketball game. And Charles Wade, who you'll hear from in a minute, hit on that game saying he likes his team despite the loss. And so, actually, let's just go ahead and jump into his audio. You can hear his raw emotion after the 63-61 loss. This is Pope Prep head coach Charles Wade.
Loss, obviously, 63-61 to BA. First off, Josh Hickson, he decided to have himself a ball game tonight. I think he finished 7 for 10 from behind the arc. I mean, that's a heck of a shooting performance. We've touched on just his ability to stroke it late. It must feel good, must be good seeing his confidence continue throughout this season.
Yeah, we'll need Josh to play that way if we're going to, make any type of noise going into the postseason. And when he shoots like that, it kind of frees Connor up a little bit, and teams can't just key on him. So it's big. We know he's capable, and he had himself a really good night tonight. It was fun to watch.
I think the biggest question I have for you, Charles, is how do you keep this game from being a mental detriment, just bogging down your guys? Because obviously it's a game you feel you could have won, and to lose it on a buzzer beater. So how do you keep your guys just chins up, essentially?
You know what? 3 of the last 4 has been that way, and we knew coming into league play they would come down with possessions and shots like that, and we always talk about not letting the next game defeat you in the following game. So, and these guys have done a really good job of bouncing back after tough losses. They're resilient. They'll be ready to play Friday.
Yeah, I mean, this game, I think BA's biggest lead was 7, maybe 38-31, and then you claw back and take the lead. What does that say about your team's resiliency?
That says they have a belief in themselves that they could play with anybody. And if you can stay on the floor in a region with the top 2 or 3 teams, you can play with anybody in the state.
Yeah, that's probably got to give you a lot of confidence moving forward. I heard you mention Lipscomb Academy this Friday. I think you got them the first time at their place. So how much are you fighting complacency over the next couple of days from your guys, if any, because you've already beaten them before, or what?
Not any, because they know if you drop a game, it could mean seeding in our region tournament. So we got to be ready to play, and we got to forget this one, put it behind us, and get ready for a really tough Lipscomb team to come in.
Yeah, and obviously you want to get the best seeding you can, but tonight, and I think you hit on this just a second ago, but tonight probably shows that if you're 1 seed, 8 seed, it doesn't matter with your basketball team, does it?
It doesn't. It doesn't matter. Every team in our tournament is going to be really good. They're going to be playing their best basketball at that time, and we like our chances. We get in there and get hot.
Very good.
That was Pope Prep head coach Charles Wade following their 2-point loss to Brentwood Academy. Again, one of the best games that I have seen so far this season. And he's right. Any team in that Division 2 AA can win the tournament on any given night, including Pope Prep. And he said it perfectly. If you can stay on the floor and compete with the number 1 team in the state for 32 minutes, then you can compete with anybody. And I firmly believe that to be true. And I know they lost last night, but it was a great game, a great showing from them. Their guard play is really, really excellent. Tristan Conger is so good. Connor Turf can shoot the lights out. I haven't even mentioned Josh Hickson, who finished a healthy 7 for 10 from the 3-point arc. 70%. That's ridiculous. That is crazy. He's hit a game winner. He's hit 2 game winners already this year. He stepped up in a big, big way to give Pope Prep an extra scoring threat And if he can continue this trajectory, yeah, this Pope Prep team is going to be tough to beat. And I know they want to get some district tournament games at home, but at home, on the road, neutral site, it doesn't matter. I really like this Pope Prep team and what they do. They've got size on the inside. They've got good guard play. They can shoot the rock. They play really good defense. And so this is just a well-rounded team that I think is poised to make a good run despite the tough loss last night. Moving on, actually, to our boys' rankings. The first two doesn't change. Beach, Pope Prep. I mean, I've said it how many weeks now in a row why they are 1-2. Beach now 24-0, 5-0, following a big win, a double-digit win, actually, last night on the road at Hunter's Lane. Our esteemed co-worker Tyler Palmatier covered that game. You can actually check out that story on MainStreetPreps.com. It's really, really good. It's about the Beach boys basketball team, just fighting through an undefeated season and just kind of their mindset and how they approach each and every game. So if you haven't read that yet, I implore you to go on MainStreetPreps.com and give that a read because it's really, really good. But again, Beach, our number one team in our ranking this week, followed by Pope Prep at 14-7, now 3-4 in league play. Moving on to the rest of our ranking is when you start getting a little bit closer in that gap. And so I've got Gallatin actually moving up a slot this week to number 3 at 12-8 overall, 4-1 in league play, following their win over Hendersonville and McGavick last night, looking really good in District 10 4A. And then you've got Hendersonville at 13-7, 3-2. Like I said, got a big win on the road last night at Station Camp, a 2-point win. Regardless of how you get them, they're big and they're needed. And then after that, we've got Portland at 14-9, 3-2 in league play. Station Camp at 8-15, 1-5. And then rounding out our bottom two, like last week, is White House at 6-16, 1-3 in league play. And then Merrill Hyde at 2-11 and 0-5. There's just really, outside of, I think 3, 4, 5 could potentially see some shakeup. I don't know if 5 Station Camp is going to see much shakeup in there, but I think you could see a Gallatin, Hendersonville, Portland, depending on how these next couple weeks go, interchange. But as of this week, as of what's today, the 26th, January 26th, we've got Beach number 1, Pope Prep number 2, Gallatin 3, Hendersonville 4, Portland 5, Station Camp 6, White House 7, and Merrill Hyde at 8. And scrolling on down to our girls' rankings, again, top 2 doesn't change from the first few weeks. We've got Westmoreland at number 1 at 17-3 overall. Only played one district game, but looking really good. Just won the Sonic Shootout in Lebanon last week, the classic that they did. I believe they won 3 games in 3 days to get to that mark. And then you've got Beach at 13-10, 5-0, unbeaten in District 10 4A, have kind of created a little bit of a separation between them and everyone else. And then as you see on the ticker there, 3, 4, and 5. I mean, they're all 3-2 in league play, separated by 1 game. You see Hendersonville at 3, Gallatin at 4, Station Camp at 5. They could really be interchanged. I mean, Station Camp beat Hendersonville last night, but Station Camp lost to Gallatin. Hendersonville beat Gallatin, but they lost to Beach. And like I said, in Hendersonville. So it's it's a jumbled mess, those 3, Hendersonville, Gallatin, and Station Camp. But you know what? I've got them ranked as you see, Hendersonville at 3, Gallatin 4, and Station Camp at 5. And then, of course, made a little bit of switch between 5 and 6 between White House and Pope Prep. I've got White House 10-10, 2-1 as my 5th team. And then Pope Prep 10-11, 0-8 in district play, having a tough year in league play. And then rounding out our bottom 2 is Portland at 7-16, 2-3, and then Merrill Hyde at 5-11. And 2-4. So that's how I see my rankings this week. Again, subject to change with games coming up Thursday, Friday, obviously next Monday, Tuesday. You never know how they're going to look next week. But as of right now, the top 2 teams don't change for the boys and girls. A little bit of change in 3, 4, and 5. And then the bottom 2, of course, remain the same as well. Hey, you know what time it is. It's time that I hit you with the 2-1 full court press. And guess what? It's rivalry week. That means I give you 1 extra game, so you're welcome. So let's dive right into it. First up, we've got Portland versus White House. Huge rivalry game, huge district game. Again, one of 3 games this week that I implore you to go check out. The other ones, of course, being Beach and Station Camp, and Gallatin and Hendersonville, or excuse me, Pope John Paul and Lipscomb Academy. But I'm highlighting Portland and White House. These 2 teams I've already met once this year. It should be a really, really good game, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, softball, badminton, it doesn't matter. Chess, checkers, these 2 teams always want to beat each other when they meet on the competition gridiron, or the hardwood, excuse me. So again, Portland White House, please, 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 if you're looking for a game to go check out this week, I implore you to go check out Portland White House this Friday night. And then next week, I'm looking at a boys game and a girls game. On the boys side, I've got Beach and Hendersonville. Of course, the last time these 2 teams met, Beach edged out a victory over Hendersonville, but it was tied 42-42 with 2 minutes left in that ball game. Now Beach has got to make the quick trip over the railroad tracks to the other side of the town to Hendersonville High School, where the Commandos are going to be waiting to try to get a little bit of a revenge and try to hand Beach potentially their first loss of the season. And then the girls game I'm looking at, Gallatin versus Station Camp, and that's simply because I need some separation in my rankings, okay? The Station Camp lost to Gallatin the first time they played. Let's see how the second go-around shakes out. And just, again, looking forward to try to find some separation between teams 3, 4, and 5 in my rankings. So, again, the 3 games I'm looking at this week, Portland White House, that includes boys and girls because both are going to be great. And then on the boys side, I'm looking at Beach versus Hendersonville. And on the girls side, I'm looking at Gallatin versus Station Camp. In those 2 games, Beach Hendersonville boys and Gallatin Station Camp girls actually lead me into my 2 players to look out for this week. Christian Shaw, Beach boys senior guard. I'm looking at you. You've got 2 big games this week, Station Camp and Hendersonville. Eli Rice has stepped up and have been the leading scorer for the Bucks as of late. Tyler Moore has stepped up. Looks like there has been a seamless transition for those 2 guys getting into the scoring. And I'm not saying anything bad about Christian and not scoring or he's falling as the third wheel, nothing like that. But I think Christian Shaw maybe needs to remind some folks that he can fill up that bucket because he's kind of been a little bit passive to his teammates. And that's a great thing. And that's exactly what you need out of a basketball team moving forward if you want to try to capitalize just on the talent and success that you could have. But again, I think Christian Shaw, this is a great week for him to remind some folks just who he is on the basketball court. Again, Station Camp and Hendersonville, 2 great opportunities for him to step up and do so. And I want to go ahead and apologize maybe to Kip Brown, the Beach Boys basketball coach. I'm not trying to put too much onus on Christian or saying that he should take over and be who he's not, because I know he's not going to be that. But I know who Christian is, and I'm wondering if maybe people see box scores and they wonder what's what. And I think this is opportunity for Christian to come out and show just who he is, and so I'm really looking forward to seeing how he plays these next 2 games. And then my girls player to look out for this week is Marissa Wirtz out of Station Camp. They've got also 2 big games this week between Beach and Gallatin. And I think if she steps up and is the player that she's capable of being, along with Anu Richards, I think the Station Camp team could get 2 big wins. Again, if you're able to beat Beach, you're able to beat Gallatin, all of a sudden you're looking at a new district outlook. You're looking at a new district seating, maybe some new confidence as you move forward. So again, Marissa Wirtz, Christian Shaw, 2 players I'm looking at this week to step up big for their teams in 2 critical District 10 4A matchups. And then my 1 winner, I'm stepping outside of the box. I'm going at White House girls defeating the Portland girls. Again, this was part of my 2 games to look out for this week. I think White House, again, is looking really good. This year, they've already defeated Portland once, and I think they get the season sweep over them this Friday night when they take them down. So, again, my 2-2-1 this week, I gave you 3 games, Portland White House boys and girls. I gave you Beach Hendersonville boys. I gave you Gallatin Station Camp girls. My 2 players, I gave you Christian Shaw and Marissa Wirtz from Beach and Station Camp. And then my 1 winner, I gave you White House girls taking down the Portland girls. That will actually do it for this week's episode of the Full Court Press. I hope you had a good time listening to me just kind of ramble on. Hope you had a good time listening to Pope Prep head coach Charles Wade and Bobby Luna, the Gallatin boys basketball coach. Want to appreciate their time following their games on Friday and Tuesday. Again, when you see the hoop, you know what time it is. It's always basketball time here in the Womble household. And until next time, I'll talk to you next week.
This has been Full Court Press, a Sumner County sports podcast with your host, Zach Womble. Follow Zach on Twitter at Zach Womble MSP and his work online at mainstreetpreps.com. Don't forget to follow the show as well on Twitter at FCP_MSP.